do what I do.
After 2.5 centuries of enslavement in the United States, where black people were tortured, abused, sexually assaulted, killed, and subjected to forced labor, emancipation finally came at the end of the Civil War with the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865. Most formerly enslaved people in the United States were remarkably willing to live peacefully with those who had held them in bondage despite the violence they had suffered and the degradation they endured. Emancipated black people put aside their enslavement and embraced education, hard work, faith, and citizenship. This period, called Reconstruction, held great hope for America and black Americans in particular. But the Reconstruction era's initial hope for progress gave way to devastating, deadly violence. Between 1865 and 1876, thousands of black women, men, and children were attacked, killed, and terrorized by white people who were shielded from arrest and prosecution. During the Memphis Massacre of 1866, white mobs indiscriminately beat, robbed, tortured, shot, raped, and killed black women, men, and children. In the course of 3 days, 90 black homes were destroyed and all black schools and churches were burned to the ground. Black residents were stripped of their belongings and forced to flee into the woods. There was no criminal prosecution against the white instigators of the Memphis Massacre, one of hundreds of such incidents during this period. The surge of anti-black violence prompted Congress to approve the first Reconstruction Act in February 1867 to ensure that black people's equality would be reinforced. In 1868, the 14th Amendment declared all persons born in the country were citizens regardless of race and thus entitled to privileges of citizenship, due process, and equal protection. Over 80% of eligible black men registered to vote. Schools for black children became a priority, and courageous black leaders overcame enormous obstacles to win elections to public office. This triggered a violent backlash from those within the white community who could not accept black equality. In Opelousas, Louisiana, in September 1868, white citizens terrorized the community to suppress black voter turnout in the upcoming election. White mobs roamed the countryside for several weeks, targeting black citizens and their white allies, murdering an estimated 200 people. Other massacres of hundreds of black people took place in New Orleans, Colfax, and parishes throughout Louisiana. Violence spread from Texas to North Carolina, where white mobs sought to intimidate and deprive black people of their rights. Despite being continuously terrorized by their former enslavers, the black community mobilized throughout the South by organizing meetings, parades, and petitions calling for the implementation of their legal and political rights, including the right to vote. In 1870, the United States ratified the 15th Amendment, explicitly prohibiting racial discrimination in voting. But still, most white people refused to accept black citizenship. In both the North and the South, there was tremendous resistance to the idea of black equality. On October 10, 1871, African-American activist and Union Army veteran Octavius Cato left the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania school where he served as a teacher and administrator and headed to the polls to cast his ballot in the city's mayoral election. Mr. Cato successfully cast his vote, but on his way home from the polls, he was assassinated by Frank Kelly, who had ties to white supremacist party leaders and who was later acquitted by an all-white jury. Being attacked or killed on an election day was a common reality for black citizens. During Reconstruction, an estimated 2,000 black men served in elected office from local and state positions all the way up to Congress. But increased political participation came at a cost of increased white violence against the black community. In Vicksburg, Mississippi, in December 1874, where black people gathered to protest the removal of their elected black sheriff from office, white mobs attacked and killed at least 50 of them. And then, in 1877, just 12 years after emancipation, the meager progress that was made towards securing equal rights for black citizens was abandoned when political compromise with Confederate holdouts resulted in the removal of the last federal troops from the South. The commitment to abolish chattel slavery was not accompanied by a commitment to equal rights or equal protection for African Americans, and the hope of Reconstruction quickly became a nightmare of unparalleled violence and oppression. It was during Reconstruction that a century-long era of racial hierarchy, lynching, white supremacy, and bigotry was established, an era from which the nation has yet to recover. 1.5 centuries after the Emancipation Declaration, racial injustice persists in America. EJI presents this report on the tragic period of Reconstruction to describe its implications for the issues we face today. We believe our nation has failed to acknowledge our history of racial terror and that we must commit to a new era of truth-telling, followed by meaningful efforts to repair and remedy the continuing legacy of racial injustice.
Actually a dark history in American history. The ultimate goal of the Reconstruction period was really to make those Confederates, especially their leaders, pay for succeeding from the Union. You wanted to really not allow those people back into power. It was almost like it was a consequence, right? Yeah. Vice President at the time, one of those poor white Americans that we talked about, that was heavily affected by the Civil War. One of the things he wanted to do was to feel bigger than those Confederate leaders. So to have them pledge their allegiance and apologize and to gratify him more, he began to pardon all of them, the land back to them. Because again, the Freedmen's Bureau was going to take the land and give it to African Americans. But Congress is out of session during this time. So Anne took control of the Reconstruction period for a brief time to do what he really wanted to do.
Frederick Douglass termed the Reconstruction era quite different. He called it the Redemption era.
And Redeemers.
It was where the South was basically trying to redeem the fact that they lost the war and they lost their livelihood, like I talked about originally. But this era historically teaches us something else about black people, is that with all the things that happened with the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, and then you come back with the black codes and the Jim Crow laws, is that we never surrendered to white supremacy.
Never.
After the Civil War, the South entered Reconstruction, an era marked by black representation in government. During this era, Congress passed the 13th Amendment, which legally abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which provided citizenship to all formerly enslaved people, and the 15th Amendment, which granted black men the right to vote. This new black suffrage led to massive black political representation. 265 black delegates were included in the state constitutional conventions of 1868, more than 100 of whom had been born into slavery. Half were from South Carolina and Louisiana, where black people had a strong history of political organizing. 16 black Americans served in Congress, more than 600 were elected to state legislators, and thousands more held offices all across the South. Congress also passed the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the Civil Rights Act of 1875. Despite its importance in U.S. history, the Reconstruction era is still neglected in many U.S. schools. Did you know this history?
Reconstruction. Now, I don't know what you've been doing today, how busy you've been or whatever, but I need you to focus because I'm about to share some things with you. I can almost guarantee that some parts of this you are going to have no idea. But, I'm not a Google kind of guy, but you can Google some of this, meaning research, real research, not this is what somebody's opinion is. They put it on, and it might not even be true. But the Reconstruction era was, I call it, the most prolific period in black history. I wrote about it in my master's thesis. Didn't even feel like I exhausted it. Had to be general because there were so many individuals that were black that accomplished great things that it just weren't enough pages to fill these individual stories. So, I did some individual people, but it was more collective. Here's your first piece. 1868, 3 years after the Civil War ended. The Republicans were a different party then. Things changed around Herbert Hoover. there were discussions about putting Frederick Douglass on the Republican ticket for vice president.
What's up? Welcome to the broadcast. This is Uncle D. People wash their ass in the tub, Kamala Harris.
You were tuned in to Uncle D. This black man talk, pull up, homie, take a seat. Don't be a shadow watcher every day. You learn something, then you earn something. Let them know and drop some money in the plate. It's getting cold, ladies, talking ratchet. Lizard King here, grab your coat, zip your jacket. Keep quiet for a second, close your jaw. Attorney Spurling, this ain't pearly, know the law. Talking Constitution, pushing pins when he shootin', give him that. Masculinity, just for the record, sprinkle that. You can keep your cat, gotta cut it. Only cat he rubbing, gotta love it. I call it Molly Buddy. Gotta vote your interest, voting earns. Presidential, this is for the money that I earn. When you gon' learn, my people, that evil mixed with evil. No matter what you're doing, baby, this ain't equal. Sometimes when you're special, you get hated. The test is for the best, you're damn right, my people made it. Uncle D, Blizzard King, you been served, gotta notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice now. Black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice now. Black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice now. Black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now.
Hey man, I'll do what I do.
Somebody need to whip your ass.
Get up and whip him, Sweets. Hey, don't be putting the money in my hand all rough.
Take your ass out here. You buy you a Flowbee and cut your own damn hair from now on.